Hi, Caitlyn Ford, based in Chicago. I'm an AI strategy lead from Accenture, and this is Rithum Rundown. Great question. Before we talk the solutions, it's worth remembering where we came from. For years, PDPs performance were driven by what would convince humans to buy, which normally encompassed really great imagery, keyword stuffed copy, polished feature bullets, and this steady stream of ratings and reviews. And I know this firsthand because in the archives of my time, I used to manage this, and everything was extremely manual, guideline driven, which was often printed. And it was very repetitive across hundreds of SKUs. And it worked at that time because discovery was human led and retailer algorithms had really rewarded that relevance and completeness. And now there's a shift where human-led shopping that you initially told a shopper, how to feel about the product, and either they believed you or they didn't. And now we're shifting to AI-led evaluation, and agents don't care about those marketing tactics. They don't respond to persuasion, they respond to proof. So they want the receipts, as the kids say, validated claims, third-party testing, certifications, structured justification for why a product is better. And so instead of these one-off updates, brands really have to shift to always-on optimization to always stay relevant. And those kind of proof-based PDP surfaces have to become reference grade, truth boards. You have sourceable attributes like your materials, your standards. You have deterministic facts like dimensions, compatibility, performance metrics, structured evidence like ingredient disclosure, sustainability, lab results. And when LLMs quote that product information, they want to have verifiable data over that marketing language because it's lower risk for them. Proof-based PDPs reduce hallucination in these LLMs, which increases the likelihood of being cited. And to drive that proof-based PDP, you want to shift from subjective adjectives to something that's more measurable. You want to change that language of like fast charging with like, what is the wattage? Exposing that evidence, ensuring that facts differ only where they should. And you want to create machine extractable fact blocks because LLMs prefer that modularity. So for example, models would definitely confidently recommend a sunscreen that clearly states the SPF, UVA, UVB blockage, active ingredients, regulatory compliance. They will avoid products who have really vague claims like advanced skin protection and even a copy that is like beautifully written. So that's kind of the gold standard that brands should be shifting towards. The first and I think foremost important part of that optimization is that it's not just a content shift that has to happen, but it's a full system redesign. So the real shift is from managing PDPs that are static into managing something that's like a living, breathing, rich with product data. And it has to be continuously updated. It has to connect to signals and engineer for the agents and decide what gets surfaced. And that is, both improving the conversion and engagement from the user perspective, and we're entering a world where that consumer is likely not even going to like see your PDP. It'll just ask the agent and find whatever best fit serves them. So in order to keep pace, brands really need to move from slow manual updates to something that's real time, has version control, traceability, automated syndication, and composability and factual alignment across channels. Success isn't something that is going to be measured by the traditional impressions or click engagement. It's going to be whether your product is selected as a valid candidate in that AI agent's reasoning. You want to optimize for a variety of shoppers, a constellation of micro mindsets, whether it's someone who is focused on kid health or wardrobe stylist, price optimizing, refill reminders. Each has their own criteria that guides them down their path to purchase. They want machine-ready comparisons and compatibility rules and quantified benefits, when someone asks, the best compact blender for a small apartment, the LLM is filtering based off of the height, the noise value, wattage, durability. A PDP that misses height, even if it's perfect otherwise, might not be included in that answer. So we say this all the time. If you don't show in the answer, you're not going to show up in the cart. Measurement has to evolve too. Your traditional KPIs won't tell whether an agent trusts you or not. These new proof-based indicators are really what should sit alongside your existing dashboards. I think that the top 3 KPIs you should really be creating your foundation on is number 1, your visibility score. This tells you how often you're appearing in LLMs. It tells you which prompts you're showing up for. It can give you insight into how shoppers are discovering you or maybe discovering your competitors. Citation frequency is how often you are quoted as validating facts. And then outcome signals. So LLM referring to add to carts, how often is your product showing up in those shoppable components in a ChatGPT or Perplexity? And the brands that are really going to win this multi-agent commerce won't be the ones who have like the most optimized PDP. It's going to be the ones whose product data is complete, that's consistent, and it basically fuels that agent to really use them confidently, even if your customer never ends up seeing your PDP. So think of offsite signals as all of the gossip AI hears about your product. You want the best tea. And AI doesn't really care about the drama. It has never watched Real Housewives before. It cares about the patterns, the proof, the repeatable sentiment, and the credible coverage. Think of these AI systems like mosaics, where your PDP is one tile and the rest is going to come from your product being discussed, reviewed, and compared. AI systems tend to heavily weight neutral evaluations, understandably so, where it's going to provide prioritization for third parties and independent testing because those are seen as high trust. These come in the forms of like your consumer report ratings or publishers, recommendations, and lab testing results. So like your SPF accuracy, or it's dermatologist tested, those types of claims. And LLMs learn from what people are already saying about your category as like that secondary layer. Social proof and sentiment from Reddit threads, TikTok trends, and creator breakdowns, YouTube comparisons. All of these community-based forums really shape the default narrative that your AI is going to repeat unless your structured data overrules that. But it also means that you're keeping this continuous repulse on the conversation, monitoring what people are asking about LLMs, how agents compare your category, what emerging need states are starting to build up in the dialogue. And these signals flow directly into broader analytics dashboards that you have, marketing, and can help guide not only your content strategy, but maybe like your product innovation. And that's really what's exciting about this new channel is that, previously as marketers, we used to always plan for the specific mindset of a channel. Like Pinterest was always planning mode and inspiration, and you had social being very conversation driven and community driven. And this is the first time ever that brands really have the seat at the table to see like real-time consumer behavior, where you're understanding the context of the shopper, you're understanding what are like the qualifiers for them to buy, and what is driving them to that purchase, and being able to respond in real time. So the offset signals that matter most are going to be your attribute consensus, channels that have the same facts, review derived functional insights like your weight, durability, size, accuracy, compatibility with systems, usage context. Is it great for oily skin? Is it great for commuters? Models use these to craft those summaries and recommendations. A pair of headphones, for example, might say that they have this 40-hour of battery life, but everyone in your reviews are saying, actually, not really, it's 30 hours. The LLM will average those signals and present the more conservative claim. So offsite sentiment is going to outrank your brand claims. So I know it might seem like very challenging because there's all of these different touch points that influence how you show up, and you can't, update for every single thing, but what brands have in their control is consistency. So in generative platforms where offsite signals don't sit on the sidelines, they shape the core narrative models tell about your product.